Also, mein Name ist Gerhard, hi. Ich bin einer der Mitorganisatoren von Design Thinking München. Und ich möchte gar nicht viel sagen, sondern nur herzlich willkommen. Und vielen Dank, dass wir heute bei Motius, habe ich gerade gelernt, das spricht man euch aus, zu Gast sein dürfen. Kleine Warnung, es läuft eine Kamera, es wird das Bild aufgezeichnet und wenn das alles so für euch in Ordnung ist, dann könnte es sein, dass es irgendwann auf YouTube landet, aber das wird dann noch geschaut. Und ich werde vielleicht auch das eine oder andere Bild machen, wenn jemand mir bitte sagen, da muss ich retuschieren, was ich nicht kann, aber egal. Also hat irgendjemand ein Thema damit? Nein, ich habe noch nie erlebt, dass jemand ein Thema damit hat, aber formal in Deutschland muss man alles richtig machen. Das versuchen wir. Gut, dann.
Perfekt, Dankeschön. Ich halte mich ganz kurz. Herzlich willkommen bei Motius. Schön, dass ihr alle da seid. Das Wichtigste als allererstes, der Getränkekühlschrank ist hier links. Einfach bitte bedienen. Ich habe gerade erfahren, dass viele Leute gar nicht wissen, wer wir sind. Ich werde es ganz kurz machen. Wir sind Motius, wir sind 5 Jahre alt. Wir sind damals aus der TU München ausgegründet. Mit dem Ziel, wie schafft man es, Emerging Technologies, die ganzen neuen Themen, AI, IoT-Dinge und so weiter von der Uni, von der Theorie in die Praxis, in die Produkte mit Kunden zu bringen. Die Art und Weise, wie wir das machen, werden euch Daniel und Johannes noch mal ein bisschen an Beispielen und an Geschichten aus der Praxis näher bringen. Und ansonsten quatscht einfach die ganzen Leute mit den Motius-T-Shirts, die da vertrauensvoll links im Hintergrund stehen, an, was sie denn genau machen. Das findet ihr lieber in den 2 Gesprächen raus, als ihr euch das jetzt länger erzählt. Als Abschluss habe ich noch eine Mini-Anekdote zum Thema Design Thinking. Mich freut es persönlich sehr, dass wir das Thema hier haben. Wo ich selber das erste Mal davon gehört habe, habe ich es für einen ziemlichen Quatsch gehalten. Das war damals in der Uni und ich kann mich noch erinnern, dass die Vorlesung einfach sehr schlecht war zu dem Thema. Und ich mir dachte, okay, ja, kann mir hier was erzählen, aber so richtig gepackt hat mich das nicht. Ich hatte dann das Glück, über die Unternehmertum nach den USA geschickt zu werden für einen Aufenthalt und bin da eigentlich nur an der D-School in Stanford rumgehangen und die haben mir das Thema dann sehr viel besser nahegebracht und die ganzen Sachen haben wir jetzt wieder quasi zu Motius zurückgespielt, versucht überall einzubauen, um so unserem Ziel näher zu kommen, von der Idee ganz am Anfang bis zum technisch und für den Nutzer funktionierenden Produkt am Ende zu kommen und wie das aussieht. Wort an euch, Jungs.
Thanks for the introduction. I will switch to English. It's fine. Sorry. Okay. Thanks for coming to our Design Thinking meetup, and I want to tell you why you shouldn't ask your friends but your customers for real good feedback. A few words about me. I'm Daniel. I'm team lead at Motius in several design thinking projects. And as you might see, I'm into biking a little bit. I'm the owner of a small company, like a small startup, like many other employees from Motius. And fun fact, I'm the oldest at Motius, the oldest employee, with 34 years old. So, what we got over here is a mountain biking helmet. And that's not a normal, it's a full-face helmet. And I just want to show you why we need such full-face helmets for mountain biking. Okay, now you know why we need such helmets. And why do we need action cams? Because people doing this stuff are feeling like superheroes and they want to share and tell everybody how awesome their experience was, to families, to Facebook and Instagram. So normally people are putting the GoPro with an adhesive pad on top of the helmet, but this has some problems, some disadvantages. And the main problem is the visor is always in the view of the cam, so you can't see the handling of the movement of the handlebar. Also, the cam is not protected if you're crashing, and you will do if you're doing the sport seriously, and it's a very high center of gravity. And the last but not least, everyone thinks you're looking like one of these. So, this is the solution. The cam is mounted under the visor, which brings the camera nearby the POV of the rider. And you can see all the movement of the handlebar. It gives the rider a clean look. and the cam is better protected against rain and dirt and in case of crash. And how is it done? There's one screw under the visor. There's a screw thread already there I'm using to put a special adapter there with another screw. And that's all the magic of the product. And here's just the difference to show on the left side with the cam under the visor, and on the right side the normal top view. And now the interesting part for you guys, now you know the product. How was it development? So the initial situation was like I'm being part of the user group. I was aware of the pains and the needs of other users. And some of my friends were like potential users and customers. So the risk here is I was too much confident and I had some white spots and I was blind for them because I thought I know everything that's important for this product. Here started development, very quick and dirty. I used a tripod adapter for the GoPro, just drilled the hole and put it under the visor. Then I started to optimize the geometry. I bought myself a small 3D printer and tried several concepts. There's a helmet you can maybe show it.
It's dirty.
Yeah, just. And I tried some concepts of the idea. So when I was happy with the geometry and the status of the concept, I showed it to my friends to get some feedback. And the problem here was I focused on mainly 3 questions. How do you like the idea in general? Would you use it if you're a GoPro owner? Is it easy to install? I'm very focused on ergonomics. And last, what about the pricing? Would you buy it? And what would be the price? And my friends were, whoa, great idea, do it. And I thought, okay, this will fly. So I prepared a campaign on Kickstarter. And to get more backers, I asked some magazines in Europe for support. Can you feature my campaign on Facebook and Instagram?
Yes.
And that magazine did. And a lot of people watched the campaign video, and I got some feedback. And one comment was this bad, it upset everything. What happened? A user went for another option to put the cam. He put an adhesive head like this under the visor, so it's close to my idea. And then he went over the bars and crashed. And the impact, the force came from the top. Whoa. And it pushed the cam into his face because this visor is very flexible. And he broke his nose.
What is the visor actually good for?
It's against rain and sun and dirt. It's coming from the motocross, and there's a lot of dirt from the motorcycle in front of you. So that's a motorcycle-inspired feature.
And is it meant to be static, or
no.
Do you move it?
It will be in this position for the whole lifetime of the helmet.
Okay.
So you will never move it around. Okay, so I immediately stopped the campaign and went back to the feedback loop and what you do in design thinking, the empathize. And I started to get new feedback. First, I contacted this guy. By now he's a good friend of mine. And I looked for similar stories for other people who had similar crashes or accidents. Then I went out of my comfort zone and contacted unknown like pro riders who are doing racing or free riding, what they want to have from such a camera mount. And then I asked for other use cases like skiing or like normal biking helmets. And with this feedback, I optimized the geometry. This is one feature I optimized with this feedback. On the left, you can see the version before or at the first Kickstarter campaign. And what I did, I then modify the geometry, and the magic is in this little nose down there. Because in case of crash, it will prevent the cam to get into the face of the user. It's a glass fiber reinforced plastic, so it's very stable, and I have a lot of users now who had bad crash and nothing happened to the cam. And I'm selling this as a USP of the product to all other solutions out there, that it's more safe than existing solutions. I started a second Kickstarter campaign and brought the product to life. That's a different story. So, lessons learned from here. Ask open questions and don't focus on any topic when you ask questions. Talk to different user clusters and don't focus on any user cluster you think that's the most important. And look out for stories, because stories will bring you unexpected information. So, thank you. Any questions? Any questions?
Is it possible that the screw comes through the helmet?
No. There's already a screw. There is already a screw thread, so I'm not putting a screw thread there. So there's already a screw there, and the function is to adjust the visor in the position. And you do it once in a lifetime of a helmet and never use this screw again.
But it comes through the helmet, or is it on the helmet?
There is a metal screw thread in the helmet.
Okay. But is it flat, or can I?
So does it damage the functionality of the helmet? That's the point, right?
Which meaning it's out.
But it's part of the helmet, it's already there.
Komplett diese 220 durch den Wald heizt und sowas durch den Schädel schlägt.
The new screw I'm adding is shorter than the original screw,
Yeah.
so there is not the problem. Okay, yes?
How long did it take you from the first idea to really hit the market, the final product?
The first stage was about 3 months, and then another 3 months to redesign it and gather all feedback I need. And then I had 1 month of Kickstarter campaign, 1 month of production. So 8 to 9 months, I would say.
Since it's been in the market, how many have you got feedback from users? Where does it break, or has it broken?
So in case we were going with light speed through the woods and hitting a tree, there is a Sollbruchstelle over here in the adapter. Yeah. So but it happened, I think twice.
You have users outside the mountain bike scene or motocross scene? So maybe
No, only the ski
gliders or skydivers or something?
No, because they don't have the visor, they don't have the screw thread. So like a ski helmet, it's completely flat. You can just add an adhesive pad, and there's no disadvantage. You can put it on the top or wherever you want. You will never have the visor in the view of the cam. Okay, then I would like to hand over to Joe. Sorry.
I just wanted to ask you, have you identified potential new innovations in your product, or something that you would like to explore?
The next step will be a handlebar mount. They are existing, but it's like this. I want to do like the best of them, and I have some ideas. So maybe we'll see it in 2019.
Great. Okay.
Okay, thank you. There were some new people coming. Maybe we can, do you want to stay there or mingle in between?
3 seats in the front.
There are some free seats, yeah.
Okay, so also welcome from my side. My name is Johannes. I'm super happy to have the chance to have 2 talks today, as you might have read in the agenda. The first one is about how do we, as like a tech company with a lot of techies, handle design thinking and combine emerging technologies with design thinking. And the second one is about, it's way shorter, it's about some experience that we had with design thinking workshops in Dubai. So we're having another office in Dubai, and we had some interesting experience that we want to share in the second one from Dubai. So, sorry, I don't have such a cool picture as Daniel has. That's me. I have a background actually in mechanical engineering, so I can call myself as a techie as well. I was focusing mostly on renewable energy technologies, but I was always following what I'm really interested in, so I went to electrical engineering and found myself at Siemens in a department for machine learning for my master's thesis. This is also where I stayed for roughly 15 months, like slightly more than a year, and instead of taking a proper job or staying there, I went back to university. I did another master, the master in management, and I also joined the Unternehmertum's Manager More program. And this is also where I got the first contact with design thinking. And we had like smaller projects with small companies, but really short, and then growing with Audi and so on. And this is also where I was joining Motius. In the first step only part-time, but since a year I'm here full-time, and together with Daniel I'm mostly responsible for the design thinking and what we call the early stage innovation projects. So Daniel, like the other Daniel, the founder Daniel, didn't say too much about Motius because he knew that I will share some information about Motius. So who are we? We call ourselves as a unique R&D company, and unique because we have a unique yes, that was not supposed to be, right? A unique R&D company. Unique because of its structure, and originally it was founded based on 2 assumptions. And the first one is that the velocity in which new emerging technology come into market is nowadays the highest in history. And it's super hard for basically everyone, not only the big corporates, but also for smaller companies to really keep up or keep track with this pace. And the second one is that young people are better with new technologies. So they grow up with these kind of technologies, like students, they have first papers or projects that they're working on, they're doing research. And then Motius decided, okay, we want to build a company that is eternally young. And of course, this is super hard to achieve. So the solution for that was a fluid structure. So we're having a talent pool. It's like not like that. We had something like that on the summer party, but it's a pool at the moment about 800 developers, average age about 26 years, and this pool keeps renewing itself every 2 or 3 years. And we have a core team, like 40 to 50 people. And we do the project always with a core member or core person, and then we staff people from the pool, which we always know that these people there are young, they have technical background, and they are having experience with the latest technologies. Any questions about the structure? So this is how we approach project and keep sure that we always working on the latest technology.
Where do you find 800 people that satisfy all those criteria?
Which criteria? Like being young and techie?
Speed and
so to clarify, this pool is there are some students, there are freelancers, there are people who are doing their PhD, and also from Unternehmertum environment, people who are like about to build their startup but couldn't need to other jobs to afford that. These 800 people, they are not always working at the same time. So at the moment, I think it's maybe roughly 180 to 200 people who are always working at the same time. But they see that as a part-time job. So they're working here for maybe 3 months, maybe 6 months. There are also longer projects, maybe for a year. But then they also have other jobs or focus on university or PhD or something like that.
And they're not virtual teams. They're all physically present here when they work?
Most of them are physically present, but we also work together with freelancers who are like further away. We also have a new office in Stuttgart and one in Dubai, so there are also some of us.
Okay, but you don't use nearshore, offshore centers?
Sorry?
You don't use nearshore or offshore East Europe or to scale?
No, the most of them are really from Munich.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so I want to show you how we combine tech and design thinking by explaining you one example that we did last year. It is about truck driver. Probably is there anyone who has a truck driving license, or is probably no truck driver here, right? Does anyone know, like friends, close friends, who's truck driver? No. Okay.
Do you have a friend?
Huh?
Do you have a friend?
Do you have a license?
No. Bitte?
No.
No, it basically this project was about truck driver. Based on their driving skills and the telematic data that are gathered during the driving, they get a scoring basically, and at the end of the month they get like a scoring card. And based on their scoring card, so also based on their driving skills, they get bonus, or they don't get bonus. And the whole system, and that was our task, was super intransparent, so nobody really knew how this system, how the bonus, not the bonus, but the grading is calculated. And basically, this was our task to like think about a super new approach, how to calculate this grading, and then based on that, having the bonus for the truck driver. And yeah, probably you can imagine that, like we were three of us, like there was Franzi, who studied media design, then it was me as a mechanical engineer, and then we had Julian, who studied ergonomics. And we were all of us, I think, 25, 26, like never dealt with truck driving or like these telematic data. And so we were approaching this project, and first thing, so we did it in the design thinking way, and we had to gather empathy, or like get to know the user. And maybe some suggestions what you would do first if you were not into the topic at all. So, Stephen?
Join a tour. Yeah, join a tour.
Okay. Yeah. Join a tour?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, like.
Out at a fuel station?
Huh?
Hang out at a fuel station?
Yeah, okay, cool. We did both of that. But the first thing that we did is we went to Facebook. And we went to all these truckers groups, and there are some funny stories. Like my feed is full of truckers, like still. And there's one group which is huge, and it's called in German. It's a German group. It's called gemeinsam Trucker halten zusammen. And then there's another group which is called like Trucker halten wirklich zusammen. And these are the hardcore truckers, and apparently there's something going on between these groups, which was funny to follow. And then we said, okay, we want to like create our own community, and we founded this group. It's called Gemeinsam für Trucker. And then we were also posting things that we thought trucker might think is funny, like this picture here, and another one. So what we did basically is we like tried to get our own community of truckers, and what was good for us, like they were super interactive. They were talking to us, and they were like commenting on all these things. And then we did exactly what you two said. We also went to the is it called like rest station, like next to the highway, talking to them. Or this was actually on a construction site, as you can see from the truck, and on the rest station, talking to them. Some didn't have time. I remember one said, "Yeah, I need to sleep now, but I give you my number, and you can call me between 1 and 2 a.m. because that's where I have to drive, and I'm tired anyways." Julian called him like during the night, and yeah, and one of them like even took us on a ride. So we really knew like what is the life of a trucker, how does it look like, and what are the problems also with these with the telematic data, and what do they all have to focus on during driving. And one thing that we realized quite quickly is that there are other players in there, not only the truck driver. and that's what they told us. These are the bad guys. These are the fleet managers, and so they're always telling them where to go and like drive more efficient, but they don't really tell them how to drive more efficient. But these are also the guys that at the end cut their bonus because they don't drive efficient. And there are also these guys, which are eco trainers. So if the fleet manager is not satisfied with the driving skills of the truck driver and it doesn't improve, then they will send him to the eco trainer and say, yeah, do a week of training, and hopefully it's getting better afterwards. So we also went to this training and like joined this training session with truck driver. I didn't get really much. They have their own language. It was full of special words, but it was interesting. And we also called some fleet manager, and we got the number of one fleet manager, and we called him and he said, okay guys, I can tell you a lot of stuff, but if I start now then it will take the whole day. And basically we said, okay, we have time. And he really came from Niedersachsen to Munich, and he spent the whole day with us. In Germany we would say auskotzen. So like Steven, like really complaining about the whole system and why it's shitty and what needs to be improved. And he spent the whole day with us, and that was really fruitful, and we got a lot of insights there. So when like after a while we thought that we know most of the things, and we moved on to the define phase to focus on some areas that we think is most relevant. And the point is, these are the three major players. So we have the truck driver, we have the fleet manager, and the eco trainer. But the main problem is here, is between those two, because you would not need them if they could communicate in a proper way. So if he says, okay, you're driving inefficiently, but if he can also tell him what's exactly wrong, based on the telemetric data or whatever, then they won't need this eco trainer anymore. So that is what we try to focus on in the first step. So we went to ideation phase. You can see one of these ideations. At Motius usually we have like 2 or 3 steps of these ideation rounds. And one important thing is, what you usually ask is like, you have these personas, you have empathy maps, you can make use of all these tools. But in the end you ask yourself, like, how can we help this person by overcoming this problem or by achieving this goal? And in Motius, we slightly modified this question, and we asked the same question, but always considering the latest technology, like having that in mind. And that is also what we do in these ideation sessions. So we take people from the core or from the pool where we know they have special knowledge, for example, in AR, VR, in computer vision, in 3D printing, whatever. So different mindsets, but also from non-techies, as you can see here. Louis, he's there, our marketing guy. So try to have like as many different minds as possible. But as I said, always keeping the latest technologies in mind, and how can the technology help us there. So we came up with some ideas, and that is what we usually do afterwards. We we call it idea vernissage, where we have a meeting with the customer and show him basically the whole journey, all the interviews that we did, then basically sum up the key aspects, for example, the point of view statement, what is this person really thinking, what is the problem, then trying to cluster maybe user groups. Do we see like patterns there? Is there a user group that we should especially focus on? And then showing these ideas that we've generated, and together with the customer evaluate the ideas which fit best to the user, which is the most relevant problem, and so on. Then we've chosen 1 or 2 ideas, and we did first prototypes. In this case, it was on the one hand side a web app, on the other hand side a mobile app, which contains some computer vision. So we did the first paper prototypes, we did the first mock-ups, and then again made use of our community. So we handed out this forum for said, okay, trucker, can you please evaluate that for us? It's like we try to help you. We got a lot of feedback, and then also talking to the fleet managers and saying, okay, we have something here for you, and also for the truckers. Can you evaluate that and give us the feedback? And this is how we did the cycle. And for this prototyping here in Motius, we can also make use of the pool or make use of people who work here at full time. For example, if we need fast prototype, then we might ask Tony or Andy if they can print us something on the printer, or ask Lorenzo if we need first a real app that should work. So this was later on, so we did that cycle quite some times with the truckers and the fleet managers. At the end, we had a really nice product, which is now into in implementation phase. So I'm not allowed to go into too much details here, but the main point is that I would have liked to show you how we add this tag into the design thinking process. To sum it all up, here once again you see the journey, and you see the team in that case. So it was the three of us. Also, this team always contains a techie here. In this case, there was also Franzi, who was more from design or from design perspective. We did the first two steps. For the ideation, we make use of the pool or other team members who can give new insights about latest technologies. We can add other team members, as we did here. For example, Lorenzo, who is a super experienced app developer, and Julius, who is another designer who can create super cool first prototypes that we use for testing. And then again, we as a team take over, go back to the users and do the testing. And one last point that I want to stress out here is we don't stop here, but we can also take this into implementation. And I've seen that quite sometimes that you do this long journey and it's a lot of effort, and then you get a lot of insights, and then it's stopped and it's handed over to another company who does the implementation. But this company has never talked to the user and doesn't really know the pain points. And this is not the case if we do this process. So from this point on, we move on and do the implementation.
During the implementation, did you continue doing usability tests and things like that?
Yeah, as long as possible,
Okay.
we make use of the user, like if it's there, and try to get as much feedback as possible.
Okay.
All right, last point on this one. As you probably all may know, the design thinking process is all about creating empathy at the beginning, get to know the user, you have the user-centric thinking, but in the third step, where we have the ideation, it's also about like having a maximum solution space. And we really believe that adding tech knowledge or knowledge about latest technology helps you to get a better or a bigger solution space, and then having more ideas, taking the better ideas, taking them to the prototyping phase, where we can also make use of the pool or of our tech knowledge. And thus, we think that including this knowledge about latest or emerging technologies helps us to create better products. Thank you.